So one thing to keep in mind, um, these things take practice. Yeah, we know how to breathe. Of course, we breathe every day, but learning how to do it with intention is a little bit different. And as we continue to practice, it helps us learn how to focus better. It can improve our emotional and our mental well being. And one thing I think that's important as we get ready to go into some of these practices, keep in mind that it is simple, but sometimes it's not always easy. And we're going to practice that at the end. So let's move on and we'll talk about different ways. So what I'm going to do is kind of explain these. You can kind of like practice it as you go, like without that intention. And at the end, I'm going to guide you so you don't have to read the slide or focus on any of this. So one that we start with is just truly focusing on our breath. And it starts with maybe noticing the fact we're breathing in and maybe even using some words as we move forward through that. So we just start by noticing we're breathing in, feeling the breath in our body and our nose. And then as we breathe out, we do that same thing. We can feel that breath. And then as we add the words to it, we can actually add a word or phrase to this technique to using words in our mind saying, I'm breathing in peace and calm. I'm breathing out. I'm breathing out stress and tension. Now, this slide says you can practice that for 10 to 20 minutes. That might not be where you are today, and that is absolutely fine. We are not going to breathe for 10 to 20 minutes just doing this one technique. Again, I'm going to be guiding you at the end. But as you get practice and as you learn how to do this better, you'll definitely be able to increase your time sitting and breathing. But it doesn't take 10 to 20 minutes. It just takes a moment for you to connect to your breath. So let's move on to the second option, another technique called deep breathing. I know that sounds really simple, but I bet you as you go out and pay attention to your breath in your day, you'll notice that you don't breathe deeply very often, even in our day. So in this particular exercise, we actually are intentional about taking deep breaths. So that means you need to be in the right position. That's sitting with our shoulders back in a comfortable place. You can be laying down. You're going to breathe through your nose. If you're all slouched like this, your lungs can't expand. So that's why we want to sit upright. We want our shoulders back, our feet on the floor. And when we take a deep breath, our lungs have space to expand. And as our lung expands to take that full breath, you'll notice in your abdomen that your abdomen is actually expanding as well. And we'll practice this with our hands on our chest and our abdomen. And you'll feel the difference. We'll actually practice into both of those. Even 3 breaths can help center yourself and really feel that deep breathing. So charters, let's move on to the next option. So this is called 4-7-8 breathing. And I don't know if you've heard of Andrew Weil. He is an integrative medicine doctor that has really focused on helping people learn how to live a different life. This is one of his favorites. It's pretty simple. We use a count to our breath, and we start by breathing in on the count of 4. Now, while you're breathing in, sometimes we don't even know what to do with our tongue. So we place our tongue right on the back of our teeth and we breathe into a count of 4 and then we hold it and we count for 7. And then as we breathe out, we kind of purse our lips and use your tongue kind of just to guide that breath like that. And when you're counting, your count might be different than mine, and that's absolutely fine. As we practice together, I'll be counting with you, and that'll make it a little bit easier for you to not have to count. And if it's uncomfortable for you, you can use your own count. There's no right or wrong in the way we breathe. So we'll do that again for maybe a few cycles, 3 to 5 times, and you'll be surprised how different it is. One thing I think as we move through this practice, that keep in mind, there is no judgment, no right or wrong. It's just really experiencing our breathing. And that's really where we want to focus today. So we have one more option, and that we call box breathing. And you might have heard of this before. It's kind of a popular one. And box breathing is really simple. It helps you clear your mind, improve your focus, just like all these breathing techniques do, and helps recenter ourselves. So if you're having a stressful moment, you can take this and just practice for a few times. It might be when you're feeling overwhelmed. Maybe it's right before you go to bed, as you get up in the morning. It could even be right at the end of your workday when you're done and you want to kind of have a pause and a break to move on to the next transition in your day. So how do we do this box breathing? Very similar to the 4-7-8 breathing, but you're going to do it on a count of 4, and it pauses, including those pauses. So we start by just breathing all the air out of our lungs. Then we breathe in through our nose on the count of 4. Remember, there's no right or wrong way to count to 4. You're just going to breathe in for 4, and then you're going to pause for a count of 4. Then you're going to breathe out for a count of 4. And then when you finish breathing out, you're going to pause for another count of 4. So yeah, these are pretty simple. We're just going to take a moment now to just kind of reset. We've learned about a few different things: breath focus, deep breathing, 4-7-8 breathing, and then we also learned about the box breathing technique. So now's our opportunity to practice, and I'm going to guide you. Don't worry, time's going to fly. If you're uncomfortable and you can't sit still, just sit there and breathe. Don't worry about how you're breathing. And if you'd like to, you can just pay attention to my voice. And sometimes that's really helpful when you don't know what to do. But remember, there's no judgment. We're just going to be present with our breath. So let's start by learning that way. We talked about sitting. I would imagine everybody's sitting. You could lay down, but it might be easier to sit up. So we're going to start by sitting with our feet on the floor, shoulders back, relaxed in our chair. Then you're like, what do I do with my hands? Well, there's several things. You could put it on your lap. You could put it on the desk or the table, wherever you are in front of you. I personally like mine on my lap. I feel like my shoulders are a little bit more comfortable. Allow your shoulders to kind of drop a little bit. You don't want to be hunching up with your shoulders, and then just allow your shoulders to kind of roll to the back. And when you're ready, close your eyes. And now you just get to listen and practice. So let's start with just noticing our breath. Noticing that you're breathing. Don't have to do anything different. I just want you to be aware that you're breathing in and out. And there's a lot of things to notice when we breathe. Let's start just by noticing the movement of the air in your nose, in your nostrils. Maybe you'll notice as you breathe in that movement of air, and maybe even notice the temperature of the air as you breathe in versus breathing out. So we're just going to take a moment to feel that breath. Feel in your body where you feel that breath. Is it in your chest, in your abdomen, in your neck, in your nose? Maybe you just notice the sensation of breath on your upper lip. Maybe you feel it in your shoulders, in your neck, in your arms, in your back. There's no right or wrong. Now, as we notice our breath, we're going to use that breath focus. And we're going to use some of the words. And I want you to start by just using, I'm breathing in when you breathe in, and I'm breathing out when I breathe out. So start by just using those words. I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. Let's take a couple breaths just using those words. Now we're going to add in that I breathe in peace and calm, or you can just use those words, peace and calm. And as you breathe in, I want you to feel peace and calm floating all through your body with that breath. I breathe in peace and calm. I breathe out stress and tension. You can change those words if you need to be something that makes more sense to you. Breathe in peace and calm. Breathe out stress and tension. Maybe you'll begin to feel your body relax. Let's take another breath just like that. And then take one more. Peace and calm in. Stress and tension out. Now, before we move on to any other breathing techniques, I want you to just pause and notice your body. Notice how you're feeling in your body. Notice your breath coming right back just to this sensation of breathing. And now we're going to take one hand and put it right on the middle of your chest over your heart. Take the other hand and put it right on your abdomen, kind of right where your belly button is, or right below, or right in the middle, wherever that's comfortable for you. Just notice your breath as it is. We're not doing anything different right now. Just notice basic, everyday breathing in your body. Now we're going to intentionally do what we call that deep breathing. And I want you to really expand your lungs. So take a really deep breath, allowing your lungs to fill fully. And then breathe out. You can breathe out through your nose or your mouth, whatever's comfortable. And let's take 3 breaths just like that. In through your nose. You can breathe out through your mouth. And really feel with your hands, where is that breath moving? Can I take a deep breath so that my belly is expanding as my chest is taking in and my lungs take in that breath? Okay, allow your hands to fall away and just go back to regular breathing. Maybe your head even feels a little light because you're breathing deeper than you normally would. Just allow your body to come back to your breath, just noticing everyday breathing, feeling the movement of air in and out through your nose. Maybe you begin to feel the chair beneath you. Maybe you feel your shoulders drop, your arms relax, your legs relax, feeling your feet on the floor. And now we're going to move on to that 7-8 breathing, 4-7-8 breathing. We're going to start just breathing out. And as you breathe in, I want you to breathe in at a count of 4 with your tongue in the back of your teeth. 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding your breath for a count of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Using those pursed lips, breathing out to a count of 8. And pausing and starting over. Breathing in for a count of 4. Pausing, holding for a count of 7. And breathing out for a count of 8. Let's do that one more time on our own. And let's do one more time. Okay. Now, returning back to regular breathing, just being present in this moment, not doing anything different, just not trying to change your breath in any way, not having to count, becoming aware of your body, of your breath. Maybe noticing if your thoughts have changed at all. And now we're going to do that box breathing. And this is each section of your breath to a count of 4. So we're going to start by breathing in at a count of 4, pausing for 4, breathing out for a count of 4, pausing again for a count of 4, and then repeating that cycle. So this one, I'm not going to count for you. I'm going to allow you to just take a few cycles of this breath, and let's just do that for a couple minutes. I'll touch base in just a minute as we kind of come back when the time's right. So let's just take a minute again, breathing in through your nose through a count of 4, pausing for a count of 4, breathing out for a count of 4, and pausing. Continue to use the box breathing technique. If your mind begins to wander, just come back to your breath. Come back to the sensations of breathing. And if the box breathing isn't working, just come back to your breath. Continue to do it if it works for you. Breathing in for 4, pausing for 4, out for 4, and then pausing for 4. Continue on for another minute. Now I want you to just come back to your regular breathing. And I want you to notice what you're feeling in your body right now. Just notice where you felt your breath, where you feel tightness or tension, maybe where you feel comfort. Feeling that breath through your nose, no right or wrong, no judgment in how we've been or how we are right now. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back to our meeting and maybe with a new perspective, what that was like. And I'd love to hear from some of you to just see, how was that? How was it to breathe in different ways? If you have questions, you can chat it. Charter, I think they can come off mute if they'd like, right?
Yes. Oh, gosh, that shows how mine went. That was great for me. I was totally relaxed. But yes, guys, you can unmute if you have a question or put it in the chat and I'll monitor the chat too, or just any. That was awesome, Karen. Thank you.
Oh, good. Anybody have any questions? I know sometimes when we sit quietly, it can be really uncomfortable when we're not familiar with it. So even pausing to breathe, like I said, it's very simple, but it isn't always easy. So it just takes practice. And even if you're doing any one of those techniques just a couple times in your day for 10 seconds, maybe building up to 20, 30. And then, eventually you're up to 5 minutes. And maybe you never get past the 30-second mark. That's absolutely fine. Every little bit helps. Okay, I see a comment. I don't have my chat turned on, so let me turn it on because I can actually read it now. Feel much more relaxed and notice there was where my stress and tension were. Yeah, sometimes we don't even realize what's happening in our physical body because we're so focused on what we're doing in front of us. We're so focused on working, doing our day, being responsible. So sometimes we have to. I had to work to belly breathe. I was chest breathing. Does slouching cause one to chest breathe? It really depends. It can, because how do we typically spend our day? Like this, leaned. Very rarely do we stop, pause, bring our shoulders back, let our arms even dangle. That can be really helpful in our day. Anybody else have any thoughts? Amazing what even a few minutes out of the day can change. Oh, I like that. Breakfast for your lungs. Absolutely, Lola. That's a great comment. I always call this exercise for your brain because we spend so much time. We may be thinking, oh, yeah, I need to exercise my body, but we also need to exercise our brain to pause, slow down, connect to this physical body. It's such an important step for overall health and well-being, but also just to be focused for emotional well-being. Like I said, it decreases stress. It can actually help with chronic diseases, hypertension, anxiety, heart disease. Believe me, there's studies that go over all of this. I remember reading a study once about irritable bowel syndrome and people that utilize some of these breathing techniques. It can be amazing what happens when you focus on your breath. Any other comments, questions? It does. Very good, Laurie. It does. That's tapping into that parasympathetic nervous system. It's that fight or flight. It helps us learn how to change our brains and our habits so that we can slow down and maybe not engage in some of the things that might trigger us. Anyone else? Boy, you guys got all the lingo. You probably knew more than I shared. Anybody else have any thoughts or questions? Charters, you got anything else for us?
I think that's it. I appreciate you all. Now attack the rest half of the latter half of the day. So I appreciate you all sitting with us for 30 minutes and hopefully into the upcoming weeks. So we appreciate you guys. And then, as always, please reach out to Hubert. I know he's out today, but reach out to him if you have any other questions or thoughts about this, and he will reach out to us and we can get those answered for you. So thank you.
And don't forget to practice. And by the way, you guys practiced for more than 10 minutes. So if it didn't seem like 10 minutes, great. If it did, just keep practicing because one little bit at a time. It doesn't take a lot. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.